Hello and welcome to Estuary TV News with me, James Dunn. In the show today, a new support network for people caring for relatives when their parents are either unfit or no longer with us. And Dan Kemp takes a look ahead at the sport over this coming weekend. But first, here's Richard Morris with the news headlines.
Hello, in the headlines today, a remembrance installation at a local school thanks to the students and 3,500 new homes for Scunthorpe. In Bridlington, there has been a serious injury collision on Flamborough Road. The driver of the blue Vauxhall Astra, which was travelling along the B1255 towards Flamborough when it left the carriageway and collided with trees. The 24-year-old man is now receiving treatment in Hull Royal Infirmary for life-threatening injuries. A passenger in the car at the time has sustained minor injuries but has since been released by Scarborough Hospital. A remembrance wall has been painted as part of the upcoming remembrance activities this November. St Barnabas Church of England Primary School in North Lincolnshire got all the students involved in the production of the poppies on display. We spoke to Emma Stevens, one of the learning support assistants at the school.
I was speaking to Mrs Barraclough a couple of months ago, just before we broke up for summer, and saying about are we going to be doing anything for commemorating the 100 years for World War One. And as I'm ex-forces, it was very dear to my heart, so I drew a very rough sketch for Mrs Barraclough and she handed it in for the staff meeting to go run it through with the head teacher of the school. Each board, it represents a year, so it starts from year 4 up at the top and runs down right to the oldest children down here with the biggest poppies. The smaller the poppies they are, the younger the children they are. So the very small ones have been made by 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, running right down to being a 10-year-old. Northern
Lincolnshire and Goole NHS Foundation Trust has released a statement following the sacking of a local doctor. Edward Holloway from Scunthorpe General Hospital took sick leave but was later spotted on a TV channel commentating on an international equestrian event. A medical tribunal found that he often took sick leave during weekends and showed up after one spell of illness with a suntan, despite poor UK weather at the time. Jane Heaton from the Trust said as soon as the actions of Edward Holloway came to light, the Trust launched a thorough internal investigation in line with our policies, which resulted in his dismissal. The Trust referred Mr Holloway to the General Medical Council and has cooperated fully with the GMC. A 3-day conference on the potential of the Humber as an ideal site for the offshore wind industry has been taking place this week. Visitors from countries such as Denmark and Norway have been attending conferences and workshops at the Hallmark Hotel in North Ferriby. Attendees have been learning about the potential of the Humber as the UK's energy estuary. The conference comes on the back of huge investments in the offshore wind industry on both sides of the Humber, with Siemens on the North Bank and Able UK's plans for Marine Energy Park on the South Bank. Able UK has been given the go-ahead from a panel of MPs who say that the construction on the Humber site can continue. The site had disputes in recent weeks from rival firm ABP, who said that they had plans for the site which Able UK wanted to develop as part of their plans. North Lincolnshire Council has told us of the good news, which totals to an investment worth over £1 billion for the area. Plans to build up to 3,500 homes on the west side of the town were passed yesterday. The applications were for the Lincolnshire Lakes site, which also includes green spaces, new flood defences and new retail parks. The development aims to complement the potential investments of the offshore wind industry like the Able Marine Energy Park. Spokesman for the Lucent Group, who is behind the development, outlined their vision for the future of Scunthorpe.
Lucent's involvement in the Lincolnshire Lakes project commenced prior to the adoption of the core strategy in 2011. The strategic allocation of Lincolnshire Lakes for 6,000 new homes and a range of mixed-use opportunities and new infrastructure signalled a major commitment to the regeneration of Scunthorpe. And the preparation of the Lucent Master Plan represents a significant milestone as the Council's policy, broader vision, objectives and policy guidance begin to shift towards an exciting phase of delivery and implementation over the next 15 to 20 years.
If you have any news for us, then please don't hesitate to contact us on Grimsby 01472 315 553, or you can contact us news@estuary.tv, or you can search us on Twitter @estuarytv, or even find us on Facebook. We've got a website, estuary.tv. Bye for now.
Thank you, Richard. Now, most of us take our parents for granted, but it's estimated up to 300,000 children in the UK are brought up by a relative or friend of the family. And if a child's parents die or are unable to look after them, often it's a much less disruptive option than going into care. But how do these unsung heroes cope with the challenges this may bring? Well, a new group is being set up in North East Lincolnshire to offer them support, and here with me today are Mick Ressel and Tina Gold from Kin Kids. Hello guys, thank you very much for joining me today. So both of you actually care for your grandchildren, is that right?
Yeah.
And who have you got? How many?
I've got 2 grandsons.
And what age are they?
There's one 10 and one 3.
And what about you, Mick?
Just one. He's 11 yesterday.
And so, I mean, I'll start with you, Tina. Why are you looking after your grandchildren?
Well, first, my eldest grandson came to me because his mum was unable to cope due to substance misuse and mental health issues. But last year my daughter passed away just after she had a baby, and so now it's my place to bring up my grandchildren.
And can I ask you, I'm sorry, I know you're not supposed to ask a lady this, but how old are you, Tina?
I'm 56.
And how old's your youngest?
The youngest is 3 years old.
Yeah. So and what about you, Mick?
So we're bringing the young lad up. He's 11 yesterday. Mother and father both substance misuse. I'm 68,
Yeah.
so we've had him from 6 months old, and a different kettle of fish to bringing my lads up.
Yeah.
Totally.
And substance misuse, I mean, drugs essentially, it's a huge problem, and I suppose this is why more and more people find themselves bringing up grandchildren. And
Yeah. So
Yeah, but it's not only drugs, it's alcohol abuse, it's mental health issues, what sometimes is caused due to the drugs misuse and the alcohol
they go hand in
misuse.
hand often, don't
Yeah.
they? And you know, this problem maybe wasn't quite so prevalent a generation ago, but is this something quite common that grandparents are bringing up their grandchildren?
I think it is getting more common because there seems to be a lot of us around, and we're not just in Grimsby, we are all over. There's Rotherham, Sheffield, Barnsley, Wath, Swinton. There's quite a few groups now starting up with this Kin Kids. But it's not only grandparents that is actually bringing up the grandkids. We have got, in our group, we've got great aunt bringing up her great niece. We have got a great grandma bringing up her granddaughter, great granddaughter.
And is it a better option for the child often?
Well, they do like them to stay within the family. It is better than the upheaval of going into foster care and then moving on to adoption, and then they lose contact at all.
And obviously, if you have lost a parent or your parent is struggling to cope, then I suppose it'd be much better to have a familiar face there.
Yeah.
And even though, you know, it might be better for the child, it must have its challenges if you're one of those people bringing up one of those children.
Well, the kids are very challenging. I know mine is.
Aren't they all?
And what you try and do is you do your best for the child so they don't turn out like the parents. But sometimes the social services leave them with the parents that long. They're already damaged before they come to us.
But all you can do is try your best.
Yeah.
And Mick, if I can ask you, I mean, if you're looking, can you feel quite isolated at times? Because it must be a big change in your life as well.
Yeah, it's a real big change, because you think in your retirement that it's feet up and the norm is to have the children, grandkids, and then go back home now. Give the parents a respite, and then give them back, you know.
And how can Kin Kids help? Why would people need that support?
I think probably letting people know that they're not alone, that they've got somebody else that's in the same boat. Really, it's like saying like a Channel 4 programme about 4 years ago. They stated then there was over 200,000 grandparents bringing grandkids up just for the drug-related problems. That's just that problem there.
So it's about just having someone on the other end of the phone, is it?
But when you, well, I suppose so. But there's a meeting place. I mean, since we've moved from the North East Links building into this Riverside, the amount of people that's going there now already. And sort of, I mean, while we're here, it's to spread a bit of news around here that there is, you're not on your own.
Yeah.
You know, you're just going backwards and forwards to school, taking that grandkid to school.
And that meeting place, and just before we're running out of time, I'm afraid, but you have got a meeting, and that's on Monday, the 3rd of November, at Riverside Children's Centre. Yeah. So if anyone wanted to come on, they can do that. Yeah. That's brilliant. Thank you very much for coming in. Now it's Dan Kemp with a look ahead at what's going on in the world of sport.
I'll start with a warning of flashing images in this section. Hull Arena will be hosting a war on Saturday night, according to Matchroom boxing promoter Eddie Hearn. Hull's Tommy Coyle faces off against veteran Australian Michael Katsidis for the IBF International Lightweight title, and Olympic gold medalist Luke Campbell faces a step up in opposition as he fights Daniel Brizuela. The Argentinian shared an epic fight last time he was in Hull against Tommy Coyle, with the pair showing 8 knockdowns before the Hull man won through.
This is by far, I believe, the strongest card we've held in Hull. As we stand right now, I think we have about half a dozen tickets left, and this will be a sellout before the start of the doors opening on Saturday night. So as always, thank you so much to the City of Hull for your support.
I welcome a war. Michael Katsidis, you know, I've been a big fan of his, sat two seats down the table from him, you know, watched his career from the early days, just, you know, give so much value to all the fight fans around the world. And I'm very, very excited about this fight. Nervous, but I can't wait to get in there and get it on.
On paper, and you know, only seeing his fight with Tommy Coyle, it's definitely my biggest step up, but it's one that I'm ready for. The people that I've been in with so far, you know, obviously I've showed a bit of a different class to them, so I'm ready to give a better Luke Campbell, and I think Daniel Brizuela will bring the best out in me.
Of course, we have our usual supplement of football action too. Hull City travel to Anfield to face Liverpool tomorrow afternoon. The Tigers will be in buoyant mood coming off the back of their point at Arsenal last weekend. Scunthorpe United host Notts County. The Iron make 2 draws from Matt Robbins' opening 2 games after drawing 2 apiece at Port Vale on Tuesday night. And of course, it is the FA Cup this weekend. Both Grimsby Town and North Ferriby United are in action. The Mariners host Guiseley, and the Villagers travel to Warrington Town, with both sides just a win away from making the first round proper. A win for Ferriby would see them make the first round for the first time ever in their history. And the FA Cup has been on location at Blundell Park ahead of the weekend's fixture. Fans were given the opportunity to have their picture taken with the famous old trophy that was first awarded in 1872. New Hull Stingrays signing Will Frederick has said fellow new recruit Brendan Jameson played a big part in his move to the city. The pair played together at the Utah Grizzlies in the East Coast Hockey League, and Frederick is expected to be in the side along with Jameson for the weekend's clashes. The Rays travel to the Sheffield Steelers on Saturday and host the Fife Flyers on Sunday. Both games are in the Elite League. And one other line of Rays news is that player coach Omar Pasha is back in full training after breaking his arm earlier in the season, but he won't be including himself in the weekend's action. And that's all for the sport from me today.
Thank you, Dan. Well, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for on the show today, but don't forget, if you've got stories you want to share with us, you can get in touch on Grimsby 31553, social media, Facebook or Twitter, or email us on news@estuary.tv. Bye for now.